Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Fierce Female Friday, April 8th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie Daytime. Now, we were supposed to have two guests today, but Ro is going to be joining me on Monday, so make sure you guys tune in for that. Hi, Angela. Hi everyone, TGIF. Welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. It is finally Friday. Make sure you guys go and check out the announcement. We're gonna continue on with Style by Stevie. Special thanks to my girl Angela and everybody who just checked on me. I needed that break. I needed that little break, and I'm gonna be taking breaks in between for my mental health. Mental health is very important, so I'm gonna start the show off by talking about that is something that we definitely need to talk a lot more of on this platform. So we're going to be normalizing it and talking a lot about it on my platform. We're going to continue Style by Stevie all the way up until 2024. So that means we've got more amazing guests. We've got so much more coming in the future and so many other amazing, spectacular surprises along for a second. Thank you. I definitely will. I definitely will. And our very special guest is here, ladies and gentlemen. If we pause or go in and out, I do not mind rotating. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me today, we have Samuel Martin. He is going to be joining us. So we're going to be talking about his acting career. But again, we got to start talking about normalizing mental health. So thank you guys for all the love and support you guys have given me, the continued blessings, prayers, wishes, all of that, and so much more. So let's get into this interview. Okay, let me add my special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Samuel Martin.
Hey, hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dollhouse. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was trying to get it to turn sideways, but I don't know if it's gonna flip. But
You're good. We can
good.
still see you and we
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
All right, so before we get into this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Because I know it's been a roller coaster ride, a wild roller coaster ride for all of us with this pandemic going on
Yeah.
and shutdowns and so many things. So, how has it been for you thus far?
It's been a little bit of both. It's been rough and it's been good at the same time. I mean, I've had some good gigs, and at the same time, the industry kind of slowed down a little bit for me. Ended up having to go back to work full time, so for financial reasons. But other than that, I mean, it's been good. You know what I mean? It's been good.
It's all about that balance.
Yeah.
All right. All
hmm
right. All right. So let's get right into this interview, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us, how did the journey for Samuel Martin begin? Like where you grew up, what was it like for you growing up, going into become an actor?
All right. I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina, so I'm from down south. When I lived in Virginia, I actually joined the Navy straight out of high school, and then I was in Virginia for like 6 years in the Navy. I liked Virginia, so I got out of the Navy and bought a house in Virginia. Met my wife, and we stayed in Virginia. I was in Virginia for like 13 years. My wife's from
Wow.
from Illinois, where we live now. And so before I moved to Illinois, I was doing pest control for a company, Terminex, which you probably know, worldwide company. And one day I just woke up. I was into acting, but I didn't have the resources to start in acting, basically. So, one day I just said, I told my wife, I said, I want to take some acting classes. And this was around like 2004 when I started. So, I enrolled into an acting class in Norfolk, Virginia. It was called Hudgens Creative. Shout out to my teacher, Sandy Martin Hudgens. She taught me everything I knew. So I took her class. And then after taking her class, she was like giving a lot of our students roles on this show called the FBI Files that's filmed down in Suffolk, Virginia. And so I didn't get a role while I was in school, but some of my classmates did. And so once I graduated from her class, I actually drove up to New Dominion Pictures myself one day after work, and I just gave them my resume and some pictures of me. And a young lady at the front desk was kind of like, I asked, could I speak with casting? And she was kind of like, well, you need to have an appointment to speak with casting. I said, well, can you do me a favor and just pass my resume and my pictures over to them? And she was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. So then like 2 weeks later, I'm riding in my pest control truck, just, working. And they called me and was like, we just want to know if you're available to play this role in an upcoming episode. And I was like, who is this? Like, are you serious? Like, they're like, yeah, this is New Dominion Pictures. I'm like, because I thought it was a joke at first, but I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, I'll be there, And then they was like, okay, we'll just break this and that, bring some wardrobes. We'll take you to wardrobe and try on some things. And 2 weeks later, I went and I filmed my first gig on the FBI files. And it was great. It was beautiful just to see myself on TV. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, wow. So that's how I got started in Virginia. And then in 2005, me and my wife made the move here to Illinois, where I was at, where we live now. And I was doing, it was like 2000, I took like a 10-year break actually when I moved here in 2005. I wasn't doing any acting. I was just kind of trying to figure my way around, go to Chicago, try to see, my way around, meet people. And I started a job at Six Flags. I was doing character acting on the weekends at Six Flags. And one of my coworkers, I was asking her, like, where do you get the acting gigs around here? I'm like, I'm new around here, I'm trying to network or whatnot. And she said, oh, you're not going to get nothing around here. You need to go to the city. So I was like, okay. So she was like, pull up Chicago Fire network. And she was like, register with their background extras network. And you'll be able to, get some filming there. And so I was like, okay. And that was like 2015 when I did that. And man, I did that. And then they called me like, I was at work one day and me and my wife, I was driving home. And I missed the call because they called while I was at work. So they left me a voicemail saying, hey, are you available to come film on this episode? And by the time I got it, I was on my way home when I listened to the voice message and I was like, Chicago Fire. So I pulled over and I was like, oh man, they want me to be on the show. So I called them right back and they were like, oh, I'm sorry. You took so long to call back. We thought maybe you weren't available. So we went on and booked somebody else. And I was like, oh, man, I messed up. And then the lady said, don't worry, we'll get you on the show. There's a lot more episodes coming. A couple weeks later, they called me again, asking me, was I available? I was like, yep, I'm available. And I went and filmed that episode. I was like a construction worker. And you didn't really see me. I mean, it was like a quick glimpse. You didn't really see me too much. But that was how I got started filming on the Chicago shows. And ever since then, I've been filming on like Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, pretty much everything that comes through Chicago, I pretty much get on it, so, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a humble beginning for you to jumpstart your career, to get out here and get your feet wet in the acting world. And you played the character of John on Chicago Fire. Now let's go down the list of some of your credits. You did Pete Soul, Odyssey, you did Twisted Little Lies, you did Jared's, Chicago Fire, and the iconic The FBI Files. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he was on that show because I watch the FBI Files every time I go to bed at night.
Wow.
So yeah, I have the entire collection from season 1 to season 7. So I'm a big FBI Files fanatic, and I love unsolved mystery shows like that. So yeah, I was like, okay, he's been on there as well too. So getting this call for you, what's running through your mind when you're on set and you're getting into the character that they want you to portray? Like, do you have that feeling like of deja vu where this is like, wow, pinch me, this can't be real?
Oh yeah. I had a funny story. When I filmed on the FBI Files, that was like my first gig that I had done straight out of acting class. So I was playing a role of a shooter, and I was basically one of the guys that were like drug dealers in the house. The story took place, it was a true story that took place in Detroit, Michigan. And it was like a group of guys basically that were dressing up as like SWAT team members, but they were actually not SWAT team members, and they were like doing raids. and they were basically taking the drug dealers' money and stuff like that. So I was one of the guys that were in the house, and we got a tip that they were coming to raid our house. So we was, as you saw in the film, we was ready with guns, and they came in and we started shooting at them. But the funny thing, I was just like, I was so amazed that I was actually behind the scenes on camera. I was supposed to be a tough guy, mean mugging and shooting at people, and I was sitting there looking at all the cameras like, because I couldn't believe I was on set. I was just kind of like, oh my God, like I had the gun and everything. And I was like, this is amazing, and I'm smiling. But I hear the director say, "Is he smiling? Like why? Why is he smiling?" And I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh. And me and the other guy that was beside me, we started laughing because I was like, oh, he talking about me. So I had to get back in the character and mean mug. But I mean, every time I go on set, I mean, just to be in character and step outside of my box and be somebody else and just be able to put the acting to work is just a blessing, man. It's like, it's no other feeling like it. It's like just to be able to do it. You know what I mean? I feel blessed. I thank God every time I'm able to do it, so.
Okay, okay. And my next question for you is, have you ever felt yourself like, okay, I need to get out of character and get back into Samuel. I'm no longer the character. Have you ever felt that experience where it's just like, okay, I'm getting too deep into this. I need to pull it back. I'm no longer the character. I'm Samuel now.
You know what? When I'm when I'm doing an actual speaking role, you got to remember the lines. So, you can't go on set, not knowing your lines. So when I'm just right around the house, I'm saying my lines in the shower. I'm saying my lines while I'm sitting there watching TV. My wife look at me sometimes like, you talking to me? Because I'm sitting there saying my lines to myself. And sometimes I do have to pull back, once I get it memorized and be like, okay, I got a regular life outside of this. So, sometimes you do have to pull. But I love it so much. It's like, I love trying to play different characters just to get in that role, trying different versions of it. So sometimes I do have to like pull myself back a little bit and be like, okay, I'm home now. Like I can't keep saying this, doing this over and over. But that's part of it. You know what I mean? That's part of it.
We have some questions from the audience. Shout outs to Liz. Ness Music, beautiful singer songwriter. She wants to know what have you been what has been the most comfortable role for you to get into? And she also wants to know, is there a routine you have before you go on set?
Let's see, the most comfortable role honestly, I like all of my roles. Actually, the Chicago Fire was my first major speaking role. I've done a couple other speaking things like on The Onion and stuff like that. But I would say the Chicago Fire was the most comfortable one because it was my first major one. Plus, that was my very first gig that I booked in Chicago that was major. So when I go there, I know all the actors on Chicago Fire, and I just feel at home when I go there. So I would say that would have to be the best one for me. Before I go on set, what I do is I just kind of like I sat in my trailer, I said my lines to myself over and over. I take a few deep breaths, you know what I mean, and just kind of exhale, woosah a little bit. Sometimes I might just kind of like might be a favorite song in my head that calms me down. I'm sitting there and just playing a song or something on my phone and just relax a minute, and then when they come get me, I'm ready. So.
Okay, and for this particular program, it had 6 award wins, 22 nominations, Chicago Fire. So the show was so pivotal. Like everybody was tuned in on NBC to watch Chicago Fire or Chicago Med or Chicago PD and so many other platforms. And then around that time, you had Scandal was out and so many other shows as well too. Like this was like the primetime lineup for NBC, ABC for that network. So what was it like being on this, award-winning show and it being in the NBC slot lineup?
Oh, it was a blessing. I mean, like I said, I was happy just to be booked for it because I would watch the shows on Wednesday nights. I record them and I go back and watch them. because I like to see a lot of my friends might be on there, and looking at the background, people that I know, and I mean, it was just I was honestly in awe. I mean, a lot of people were contacting me like, man, we saw you. Everybody was like hitting me on my phone, Instagram, and Facebook. I am in me and stuff, and I mean, it was a blessing. I just felt, I thank God for being able to do it, and I thank my agents, the casting agents who booked me. I was thankful for everybody that was there at this time, and just for accepting me and being able to do it. Sometimes I'm still in awe if I go back and look at it. Somebody might send me a clip or something. I'll be like, wow, I still can't believe it was me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I stay humble.
Absolutely. And that's something that we've been talking about throughout this week on this platform is, no matter how much success you get, it's always key to stay true to who you are, never lose sight of who you are and remain humble. So that even goes to me and my mom. She told me this, because I'm also from South Carolina, born and raised down here in South Carolina.
All
My
right.
mom, she told me this. She said, don't ever get too big that you forget to put God first in everything that you do. Humble yourself, because just as fast as you gain all of this success, you can lose it instantly. And I've
Oh,
seen people get so caught up in this industry where it's just like, okay, you become alienated or jaded. And it's just like, never lose sight of who you are as a person. Remain humble and remain human. And that's how throughout all of these years, this platform has had such the success that it's had, because I've humbled myself and I'm so down to earth and laid back. I don't act snobby. When I first started, I was cocky and arrogant because I was young, but now I'm 28. So when, as you get older and mature, you see things in a different light. So
yeah.
we got another question from Liz.
All
Would
right.
you ever take a role that that would take you away from your home more than a year?
It depends on, first, it depends on if I like the role. It depends on how much money they'll probably be paying me. And I mean, I'm a Navy veteran, so I'm used to being gone a lot from home. But at this point in my life, I wouldn't want to be away from my wife for a year. You know what I mean? But I would find a way to make sure my wife is there in that city with me while I'm filming. Like if I had to go, say I had to go to New York or Atlanta or something like that, and to film something, I'll make sure that I can do it, and I'll make sure I have somewhere there where she can be there with me too, after hours or something. Yeah.
Oh, yes, and that was actually going to be my next question for you, because I asked a lot of actors that question. It's difficult being, and I asked you in the beginning of the interview as well too. What was it like? Because I know everybody's suffering from separation anxiety while being on set and away from their family. That was going to be my question for you. How do you find that balance to separate being an actor and being the family man, Samuel the family man?
Well, basically, I mean, like when I'm like my wife understands, that I'm an actor, and when I first started, I can remember she would be, I'm getting home like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, a late night shoot or something. And she like, man, y'all got to be out there like this every night, like. But as time went on, she started to understand the business. I actually had the opportunity to take her out to the studio with me a couple times this year. She couldn't come like on the premises in the studio, but I had the chance to take her out and let her see where I'm acting at, where our studio is, and when I go do the COVID test, we have to do a COVID test. I take her with me, and let her sit in the car just and see where I'm at around the city. And she's like, "Oh, this is cool." And I'm like, some nights I was doing one show, Big Leap. I was doing that earlier this year. Where I was like a core member, and I got to film on a lot of episodes there, and I had some late nights on that, and she understood. I mean, I think since it's been so long, when I first started, it was kind of like, man, what y'all doing out there that late? It's like we filming.
Right.
It's like we filming, and so she understands now. I don't have an issue with any of that. When I come home, I make sure I get my family time in. I don't care what time it is. It could be in the morning. It could be at night. Whatever. At the same time, I was balancing this plus, working another job. My regular job at a mortgage company while I was acting, trying to do both at the same time. and that was very stressful. You know what I mean? But I get my family time in. We make sure that that comes first. So we don't ever have an issue with that.
Absolutely, because I know it can be difficult while you're on the road or you're on set, and we're having to FaceTime and
Mm,
Zoom call, all of this, while being on set, and like you said, the restrictions, the guidelines. So I'm pretty sure the family's understanding, but it's depressing and it's sad, being away from your family. But they understand it, they get it. And they're just like,
yeah.
okay, daddy has to work, mommy has to work, they have to do what they have to do in order to survive and make sure that we're okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, she was all for it, like follow your dreams, like you know what I mean. So that I mean, right now I kind of put a hold on it just to try to get back financially straight, but you know, I'll be back. So
Yes, it's hit a lot of people hard. Like we never, and my mom was saying this just the other day. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say, y'all, but you guys remember the Montel Williams show? It's a psychic by the name of Sylvia. Sylvia predicted that something was coming, and this was kind of it. My mom said that. So I said, Mom, that sounds crazy. She said something was coming. And it took all of this to bring us closer together to be like, okay, we need to communicate more with me. For me, I've even taken time for myself. I've realized that I've had to take more breaks because all I've been wanting to do throughout the whole thing is just do interviews and find
mm,
little things. I find myself cleaning a lot more, and all of this throughout the quarantine.
yeah,
So when it first hit us and affected us, I was just like, wow, this is real. Like people are really getting sick. All of these things are happening out here. This is not a game.
yeah,
So take it seriously. Don't take it lightly. I haven't gotten sick. I haven't gotten it. But making sure that my family and everything is okay and we're safe and sanitizing everything. Like I
oh
find
yeah,
myself doing that. And my
yeah,
brother and my uncle and my father are also military vets. So
mm,
they know about the Navy, the Marshals, all of that. So you already know what they give, Samuel, where it's like everything has to be in tip top shape. And my
yeah,
brother, um, OCD, and I think it's rubbing off on me now because every time I find myself, whether it's a hairspray can, it can be
mhm,
a soda bottle, anything. I find myself sanitizing everything. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't know what it is.
You got to though, I mean, it's just being safe. I mean, I've known, I've had a family member on my wife's side who passed away from COVID, last year.
Sorry.
So we take it seriously. We I noticed like even after, I know it was a bad thing with the COVID hitting, but with wearing the mask and always washing your hands and sanitizing, I haven't been sick since, I haven't barely got even a cold since the COVID hit. You know what I mean? Because I just been staying clean, but
The
now
same here.
everybody's
Yeah.
unmasked now. So, you still got to be careful, so yeah.
And even with me, I'm a big germaphobe. Like I stay away from people who are not wearing any coverings or anything. I move in the other direction. Like, oh, okay, so you're that bold, all right. While I'm over here being safe, gotten on my face covering, shield, or whatever, I'm not gonna go in your direction because
Right.
I do not want to be an easy target. Like you
Mhm.
have family members that have pre-existing conditions, so you have to be mindful of that. And we have another question: what is the dream, both professional and personal, to you? What dream is?
What's my dream? I mean, one of I was a big time baseball player growing up. So my dream was to be a professional baseball player before acting. That everybody that knows me back in South Carolina, they know my dream was to be a baseball player. If you would have asked me back when I was a teenager what would I want to be or what will I be in 10 years, I would be like, I'm playing in the major leagues. But now I would say my dream, since I'm an actor, will be to actually star in a baseball movie right now, just to be able to put the uniform on again. Even if I have to just be a coach, a role as a coach, or because I'm probably too old to play a player now. I don't know, but yeah, that's my dream. I would love to star in a major baseball movie.
Okay, okay. And speaking of baseball, when you said that, I thought of one of the greats, God bless his soul, Chadwick Boseman.
Mm,
Chadwick Boseman played 42, Hank
yeah,
Aaron. So um, if
love
you
that
could
movie.
play a bio or have, if someone asked or requested you to play in a bio, who would you like to play and who would you choose to play you in a bio about your life?
If I wanted to play in someone's bio, a lot of people don't know that my one of my favorite actors, besides Denzel Washington, is Omar Epps. So
Oh,
if and I notice he's got the bald head now too. Um, I would love to play Omar Epps if I had to do a bio on him. I always wanted to acted the roles that he played. I always wanted to do the same roles growing up, like when he was in Juice and different movies back then when I was growing up. So I would probably play do Omar Epps' bio. Someone to play my bio, man. I haven't even thought about my bio, but someone to play me, whoo, that's a good question. That's a good question. And they would have to be a major movie star or just like a regular person. I mean,
you would
like
go through the casting process, anybody that comes to your mind.
I think because I used to always get told that I look like Jamie Foxx and Mekhi Phifer, I think I would want Jamie Foxx to play me. I think I would want him
Okay.
to play to
And,
play me.
and he did Ray Charles, so that second bio.
Yeah, yeah, he did a great job. Great job. Yeah.
Okay. We have another question. What is your strength as a man and as a human being?
My strength as a man, I would say that I'm one that I believe in. First, I believe in God, but I believe
Mm,
in family. I like me and my family. Nothing comes first before my family. You know what I mean? So, as a man, as a human being, I have a personality to where my mother always taught me to, treat people the way you want to be treated. You know what I mean? Don't, and she always would instill in me like, just because you cool, don't mean everybody else gonna be cool. And don't mean everybody else gonna like you. So I treat people the way I want to be treated as a human being. I don't care what color you are, what race, color, gender, whatever. I don't care. As long as you treat me like a human being, I'm gonna treat you like a human being. You know.
absolutely. 100%. It's about humanity and respect at the end of the day
Mhm.
and loving one another. Because this thing right here, so many people, as you've mentioned, so many people have lost their relatives, loved ones, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. It's affected a lot of people. So
Yeah,
my thing is just respect everybody, give people their flowers while they're here, and cherish them each and every moment. So yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. You know.
All right, fashion dolls. It is about that time. We're about to get into our games with Samuel. The first one is called the Rapid Five. And Samuel has to tell us five things that he can't live without. And then the next one is going to be called Turn the Tables. And this is where my guests get to ask me as many questions as they want, uncensored and unfiltered. And it gives people sort of like access to the velvet rope that is me,
Okay.
because I'm like a mystery. I don't reveal a whole lot,
Okay.
but through this segment, people get to find out what I like, what I don't like, my passions, goals, whatever it is. So we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are five things that Samuel can't live without?
One, I would say my wife. Two, my daughter. Three, I gotta have my movies because I always look at movies to try to pick up different techniques, watching different actors. Um, what else can I live without? Uh, I'm a pretty simple person, so I would say my sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead. I gotta have my sneakers, and I gotta have a nice car. So,
All right.
mm,
And he started off with the most two important women in his life. Again, this my show is circled around family values. So when I talk to or interview almost every person, they say family is key to them, and they know how dear that is to me. So
yeah,
definitely connected there.
definitely.
All right.
Mm.
All right, fashion dolls. My heart is beating a little fast for this next segment because I don't know what he's gonna ask me. But it is time to turn those tables. All
Okay.
right, fashion dolls. So I'm going to pass it on down to Samuel.
Okay. Um, so it's 5 questions.
As many as you want. You can ask as many as you want.
Okay. How did you get started in this industry?
How did I get started? And it's so random how I got started because I started right after high school, and our parents always ask us, what are you gonna do? You can't just give me something like, okay, I want to be a singer. What type of music are you gonna do? What is gonna be your passion? What is gonna be your backup plan to make sure that you become a singer? Are you gonna take lessons? Like my mom and my dad are those type of people. They
Okay.
molded me into being the successful woman that I am today. And I give them so much credit for that.
Okay.
Um, so how I got started was it was so random. Right after high school, after I graduated, I got my beauty school license. I went to cosmetology school and I used to give beauty tips. So that's kind of how I started out, doing DIYs and things like that on Facebook Live every day at 11 a.m. I remember the time. And one thing I was known for was my blonde mohawk because I had a blonde mohawk at the time. I don't know what it was, something I wanted to do. I love to experiment.
Okay.
So then it progressed on because I have friends who are also in the industry as well, indie artists, indie actors, indie singers, indie models, whoever. And I would call them up and I would invite them to come on my platform and they would promote their albums, their projects, their shows, whatever it is that they're working on. And as the years progressed long on, this thing kind of just blossomed and took a liking to its own. And I shook it up around 2020, 2021 when I added the co-host to this platform because it was three of us.
Okay.
Now it's just one because shout outs to Johnny. Johnny is going to be returning soon and Marco as well and EJ. So, we went through rotation of co-hosts on this platform, but now it's just me and Johnny. So I added the male co-host because people see the woman, they see Miss Stevie, they see me as the face of it. But I said, if you're going to have a conversation on a platform, you can't just have it from the woman's perspective. And I would get accused of being bashing men, and I'm just like, oh no, no, no. I'm giving it from my point as a female, as a woman. So I mean, how can I give it from the male standpoint? So that's why I added male co-hosts to the show to represent for the men, because men want to feel included in the conversation as well too. You can't have a conversation and it just be one way. It's got to be both ways. We can sing and we can dance together, but we can't do it over each other.
Right.
So in order to have a conversation, you have to be willing to listen to both sides. So that's how the whole concept of adding male co-hosts came later on to down the line in 2020, 2021. And I started, it was in 2017, 2016, right after high school.
Okay.
So yeah, very young when I started.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Let's see. If you had to pick one movie as your favorite movie and nothing, and you had to watch that particular movie all the time, what movie would you pick?
I would have to go with something funny, and I would go with Eddie Murphy and Nutty Professor. I could
Okay.
watch that one over and over and over again. I know it word for word, what happened in each scene. Like, I just
Okay.
love comedy. I love to laugh. I love to have a good
Absolutely.
time. And I think we need more laughter in such crazy times with everything going on with the war and everything in this
Yeah.
country. We need healing and something
Definitely.
light, not too serious. So I'd
Definitely.
have to say the Nutty Professor.
Okay, that's a good one. That's that's one of my favorites too. Um, okay, if you had one food, just one choice of food, and this is all that's left on earth for you to eat for the rest of your life, what food would that be?
Everyone knows this answer. It would have to be pepperoni pizza. That is my guilty pleasure. It
Okay,
is my weakness. I love it. If not that, then lasagna. I love three cheese lasagna. That is one of my guilty pleasures as well too.
okay, good choice, good choice. And my last question would be, if you had to meet one actor, it could be uh, it could be your crush or just somebody you dreamed about meeting. You know, who would that be?
I would have to say it's so many. It's a tough choice. So I'm gonna just
Mm,
go with one, and I'm gonna say Viola Davis
okay.
because I've seen her outside of How to Get Away with Murder,
Mm,
and just seeing her on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. I think it was either Jimmy Kimmel. It was Jimmy Kimmel, and she was talking about menopause, and she has such an amazing sense of humor. Like she's not all the time dramatic and in character, but to see her outside of that, I'm like, wow, she does have a human side too. Because sometimes I'll be watching the shows, and I'll think some of the actors that I sit down with on my platform are going to be somewhat like their character, and no, it's the complete opposite.
okay. Good choice. I think that's my well, I might have one more. Last question will be if you had to pick a state and you have to stay there for a year and you can't move until that year is up. Which state, city and state?
Oh, I would have to go with LA. I love the sunshine. I love the fashion stores. So I would have to say LA, Los
Oh,
Angeles. Yeah.
gotcha. All right. That's it. That's it. That's all the questions I
All
had. Mm,
all right, fashion dolls, and that is the turn the table segment. And we have some questions for you as well too. Liz wants to know, in an
mm.
ideal world, what would you replace money with? And she also wants to know what legacy would you want to leave behind?
If I had to replace money, I would prefer to just have love over money.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because you can't. I mean, you can replace love, but I feel like love will last longer than money. Because
and you
money,
can't buy it.
yeah,
It's
money would
unconditional.
be can be taken from you tomorrow. You know what I mean? Um, the legacy I would like to leave behind, my legacy would be that he was one cool brother. He would do anything he can for you, and he always treated you with respect when he saw you. That would be the legacy I would want to leave behind.
Absolutely. 100%.
Mm.
This was a powerful interview and a great conversation, and I hope you guys are taking some stuff from this interview. Before we wrap up, I'm going to let Samuel do the honors and close out. Is there any projects you would like to close? And my last final question for you is, what advice would you give? Because you said you have a daughter as well too, and I'm pretty sure she's teaching your legacy on to her children and the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. What advice would you give to the next generation of young up and coming actors who want to get into this industry?
First thing I would tell you is take some acting classes. That would be your first step is to take acting classes. Make sure you get great headshots, which would be at least three different headshots. You need to make sure you have one with a big smile for commercial. You need to have a theatrical one with just like a normal smirk where you don't have to smile, just kind of a theatrical. You need a bad boy or a bad girl look, a tough looking one. And those three categories right there is what casting directors look at. Because whatever say you're submitting for a commercial, you're gonna do the one with the big smile. You know, if you want to be an undercover cop, you're gonna or a gangbanger, you're gonna have the bad boy. If you're trying to book a play, you're gonna use the theatrical one. So I would say always, have good headshots. Find a great agent that's not gonna rip you off. You should never pay an agent, to represent you. Their job is to represent you, and they get a 10 or 20% of what you make. Their job is just to represent you and find you jobs. Don't ever pay anybody to represent you. So those would be my three major advice. Also have tough skin because in this business, you're going to run into all types of people, all types of snakes. You're going to get told no 1,000 times before you get that yes. So if you don't have tough skin and you don't like rejection, this is not business for you. You know, that would be my advice to up and coming actors.
Absolutely. And I'm going to second that as well, too, because, me working in the fashion and beauty industry is very cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, it's everybody wants to be competing to be at the top. you know. And I'm going to use this as an example. I love supermodels. So I'm going to bring up Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell. Back in the day, it could only be one black supermodel. It could be one girl. And it was like these two women were pitted against each other to fight for that spot to be the top black supermodel.
Yep.
So yeah, and the industry is like that. So make sure that you guys are staying humble. Hi, Karma. Hey, girl. Make sure you guys please go and check out Karma's Paradise LLC, Black-owned businesses, hair oils to make your hair grow and luscious and beautiful. Also, she has lashes, lip glosses, and etc. So much more. So please go and support that beauty business for all your healthy hair care needs and skincare essentials. Definitely follow Karma's Paradise. And we're all about supporting Black-owned businesses here. But to add on to Samuel's point, please, again, stay true to who you are and don't let this industry try to make you crumble, because if, again, you become so jaded, you become so alienated. And I've seen people, some of the greats, I'm going to go down the list and then we're going to wrap up. Some of the greats, oh my goodness, like Jimi Hendrix, for example, Phyllis Hyman. I've seen what the entertainment business can do to people, how it can destroy people. And people just like, well, I want to be famous. I want to be a singer. I want to be, you know, the next Ricky Lake. I want to be the next Oprah. Right. Listen, and I was like that when I first started. And I'm just like, no, it can't be that way. You have to humble yourself. Yes, you're going to get so many doors and so many things to open yourself out here to get in this business, but humble yourself, never lose sight of who you are, and don't become jaded, alienated to the point where your audience is just like, okay, who is she? And why is she doing this? Because everyone, and Liz asked this question just last week. She asked, what was your why? Or she asked one of my guests this question. It was, what is your why? And why is your reason for why you do things the way you do? So think about that.
And you got to remember, just be yourself. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody try to change you. Be yourself, because they're either gonna like you for you or not. You know what I mean? And remember that God got a plan for you. What's meant for you is for you. If it's not meant for you, it's not for you. You know, so that's why I tell people all the time.
And you're welcome, girl. You're welcome anytime. Anytime. And a sea of lookalikes. You own Shimmer of Light. Absolutely. 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 And one of my favorite quotes is from Coco Chanel. She was saying about being a trend in a room full of Kardashians. It was something to that extent. It was one of Coco Chanel. So yeah, it was a cute little quote. But yeah, just be yourself. Just be original. And people will love and appreciate your authenticity. And that's why I have the success that I have on this platform, is because it's genuine, it's natural, it's not forced. Whereas, you know, certain platforms, I'm just like, some of the interviews are just kind of like, wow. I said I would never do that. I want my guests to feel welcome. I want them to feel comfortable and just organic, and everybody just vibe off of the energy. And that's what it's been.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great, you know.
You are so welcome, and it was such a pleasure having you here. I'm so honored that I got to speak with you, and I would love to have you on again in the future.
Okay, I'll be back. Right now I'm working full time, but I'll be coming back once I get everything together like I wanted. I do have a show, 61st Street, that'll be airing Sunday. Actually, it's on AMC. I don't know which episodes I'll be on, but I know I have some scenes where I'll be like in the jail with one of the main actors as an inmate, intimidating and this and that. It's like 2 seasons that I did some things on, so yeah, be on the lookout for that too.
All right, Fashion Dolls, you guys heard it here first. Mr. Samuel Martin, ladies and gentlemen. Shout outs to all of you. And in case you guys missed the announcement that I posted, Style by Stevie will continue all the way until 2024. That means we have so much amazing things coming in the future. So you guys just have to stay tuned. I needed that break. So thank you guys. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Monday, Ro Underwood will be joining me for some girl talk, so make sure you guys tune in 4 p.m. for that. Special thanks again to Mr. Samuel Martin, Karma's Paradise, Special thanks to my makeup artist and beauty contributor, Melanie Nalamai Bridgers. And special thanks to you guys, the Fashion Dolls, the supporters. Thank you all for tuning in and have a blessed and safe weekend, you guys. Take care of yourself. Love you all.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.